Great afternoon, everyone. Well, the Senate Committee on Public Safety and Military Affairs, this is our 3 p.m. agenda. Today is March 19th, 2025, and we are in conference room 225. This hearing is also being streamed on the Hawaii State Senate's YouTube channel. Just a few housekeeping announcements. In the unlikely case of technical failures, this meeting will reconvene here in conference room 225 later today. For all testifiers, including those on Zoom, we ask that you stand on your written testimony. If your oral testimony is different from your written testimony, the time limit for each testifier is 1 minute. The content, including the hearing notice and copies of the bills and testimony, can be found on the legislature's website. If time permits, decision-making will occur after we hear from those offering testimony. First up on our agenda is House Bill 125, House Draft 1. This is relating to firearms. This requires the retail sellers or transferees of firearms to provide purchasers with notice regarding the law on firearm storage, expands the requirements for the secure storage of firearms, clarifies the offense of criminally negligent storage of a firearm. First up on our list from DLE, Director Mike Lambert, or Deputy Director.
Good afternoon, sir. Jared Ridola, the Deputy Director for DLE. Our department is in support of the measure.
Okay, thank you. Office of the Public Defender, John Ikanaka, or Mr. Bento.
Good afternoon, Chair, members of the committee. My name is William Bento, a member of the Public Defender's Office. We've outlined in our written testimony our concerns in relation to District of Columbia versus Heller and the proposed language in the bill. I would have one suggestion, that perhaps the bill could be drafted in the sense that if the person who legally owns the firearm is home, there's no need for the gun to be made inoperable. The reason for that is then it complies with Heller. If the person is not home, then Heller wouldn't control, and you couldn't have all the requirements you want regarding the safety of the firearm or it being locked in a safe or made inoperable. That would be our suggestion. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Ramaswamy for Brady Campaign to Prevent Gun Violence on Zoom in support.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, please proceed.
Thank you. My name is Ramya Swamy, and I'm Policy Counsel at Brady, the nation's oldest gun violence prevention organization. With an amendment, which I will mention later, Brady strongly supports HB 125, which will update Hawaii's secure storage laws to create a general requirement to secure a firearm when it is not in use and require gun dealers to provide buyers with information about the state's current secure storage firearms laws. Safe storage is constitutional. The Supreme Court noted this in its opinion in District of Columbia versus Heller, and that opinion would not suggest the invalidity of laws regulating to the storage of firearms to prevent accidents. And in Bruin, the court held that firearms laws should accord with the Second Amendment's text and historical understanding. Fortunately, there is ample evidence that safe storage laws do just that. The Supreme Court, I will note in my written testimony, because I'm running out of time, what our amendment is, but it's regarding the strict liability provision that's in the language. Thank you. But we do support this bill.
Okay, thank you. And we do have your written testimony. Thank you. Next up is Sarah Sumadi for Everytown for Gun Safety and Support on Zoom.
Good afternoon, Chair Elefante and members of the committee. My name is Sarah Sumadi, and I'm Director of State Government Affairs for Everytown for Gun Safety. I'm here testifying in support of HB 125, which would significantly strengthen Hawaii's law and require that everyone keep their firearms securely stored using a trigger lock, lockbox, or gun safe when they're not in use. Secure storage is one of the most effective steps we can take to prevent unintentional shootings among children, youth gun violence, and school shootings. And given the increase in gun violence in Hawaii this year, much of it involving young people, HB 125 is a smart step for public safety to decrease the chances that someone who is too young to purchase a gun legally will be able to access one. Secure storage practices are also critical in preventing gun crime. Many firearms that have been recovered from crime scenes were stolen from lawful owners who may have failed to take proper steps to prevent theft. For that reason, we strongly support this legislation. Thank you.
Thank you. Susan Tromblow for testifying for Gun Owners for Safety and Support on Zoom.
Aloha. My name is Susan Trombley. I live in Kapolei. I am a gun owner from a family of hunters. a retired teacher that had an 8th grade student in my classroom with a gun, a mother of a school shooting survivor, and a grandmother. I'm here today because I support HB 125, which would require all gun owners to keep their guns stored locked when they are not in use. Keeping guns securely stored at home is one of the most effective steps we can take to prevent unintentional shootings, youth gun violence, school shootings, and gun thefts. I worry a lot about our keiki and our teens getting access to guns. They're at a life stage where decisions can be impulsive. Making it harder for keiki and teens to get easy access to guns could be the difference between life and death. Mahalo. I
Thank you.
support 125. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Terry Ann Mohidan.
Good afternoon, members of the committee. My name is Terry Ann Mohadeen. I am a mother. I live on Oahu, and I'm a volunteer with the Hawaii chapter of Moms Demand Action for Gun Sense. I urge you to support HB 125 having to do with secure storage of firearms. When we hear in the news about a horrific school shooting or a child who unintentionally shot and killed one of their friends when playing with a gun in the home, or when a teen dies by suicide with a gun, we feel a great, great sadness. Many of these happen when that young person gains access to a gun in their own home or in the home of a relative who was not properly securing their firearms. Please help keep our keiki safe here in Hawaii by passing this law. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Chris Martin.
Aloha, Chair, Vice Chair, members of the committee. Chris Martin for the Vet Voice Foundation, highlighting aspects of my written testimony. I'm a combat wounded veteran of the war in Afghanistan, strongly in favor of HB 125. Rarely do we see a bill as easy to pass as this one. We're just asking people to lock up their guns when they're not using them. This is common practice, and frankly, any gun owner who isn't already doing this is a dangerous person. In the military, when we use firearms, we adhere to 3 basic pillars: training, safety, and accountability. And when our weapon isn't actively being used or carried on our person, it's locked up in the arms room, always. This bill makes civilian gun culture just a little bit more like military gun culture. 2/3 of American gun owners support safe storage regulations, as well as 68% of American Republicans and 77% of Americans overall. Those numbers are likely higher in the state. To be honest, I can't figure out who would oppose this bill. At the end of the day, this law is 100% in line with public safety, protecting keiki, preventing suicides, and saving irresponsible gun owners from themselves. Pass HB 125 and keep Hawaii more safe from gun violence. Thank you.
Thank you. Erika Yamauchi, testifying for Moms Demanding Action, Hawaii chapter, in support. Jerry Yuen, in opposition, on Zoom.
Hello, Chair. I'm Jerry Ewan, President of Polo Rifle and Pistol Club. I've strictly opposed this bill, HB 125. There is already requirements that gun owners have safety training, either from their hunter safety card or a formal class. To have a retailer go over that again is unnecessary. There's also private gun sales. Will those private gun owners do their sales? Will they have to provide safe storage also? Or and I've seen no reason why a gun owner should be liable if somebody else steals or inappropriately uses the gun. It's like somebody steals their car and commits a crime. Would we want that precedence where the car owner would be liable for any crimes committed with that car? And that's all I have for now. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Yuen. Samari Fatimi, in support.
Aloha, Chair and esteemed members of the Council. My name is Samira Fatemi. I am from Maunalua, also known as Hawaii Kai. I urge you to support this bill, HB 125, and I affirm previous testimony regarding the safety of our keiki. I would just like to add that a study by the CDC shows that for 90% of unintentional firearm deaths involving children for which the gun storage status was known, 90% of them were both loaded, and unlocked. This is a small but measurable step that we can take to keep our keiki safe. I urge you to vote in favor of this bill. Thank you.
Thank you. Jay Franzoni, in support on Zoom.
Chair Elefante, members of the committee, aloha. My name is Jay Franzone, and I study violence and how to prevent it at Johns Hopkins University. As I wrote this week in a Star Advertiser, reading about the theft of a police officer's gun in January was chilling and reminded me, and I think all of us, of the dangers of unsecured weapons. In February, a 16-year-old shot and wounded a man, and while it's unclear where he got his gun, it all highlights a serious public safety crisis. Unsecured weapons. We're lucky this time. The officer's gun was recovered and the shooting was isolated. But luck isn't strategy. As I think of starting my own family here with my fiance, I have to ask, please act now to prevent future tragedies. As has already been noted, over 75% of school shootings, the gun comes from the home or the home of a relative of that shooter. These tragedies can happen at any moment and need to be prevented. Thank you.
Thank you. Michael Rice, in opposition on Zoom.
Aloha, Michael Rice speaking on opposition against this bill. As Jerry has stated, it's already law to keep your weapons secured and stored at home. All this does is criminalize it if somebody gets access to my gun when I'm not home, because, I mean, even though I got a safe, they can get into it in 5 minutes with a crowbar, or less if they happen to find where I hide my keys at. All this will do is penalize people after the fact, after a tragedy happens, after somebody steals their parents' gun and goes out and shoots a bunch of people. Or, some chronic breaks into my house and sells it to a kid who steals a gun. Up to 2 years, I can still be charged with a crime because I was victimized. I believe that's all for my testimony. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Rice. Mary Healy, in opposition on Zoom.
Not present on Zoom, Chair.
Ryan C. Tinajero, in opposition.
Aloha, Senators. Just want to stand on my written testimony and add a few points. As mentioned, and wanted to reemphasize, safe storage already is codified in law, and particularly in HRS Chapter 134-10.5, in case anyone forgot, so it's not like it doesn't exist. In addition, when it comes to the section where it requires HRS Chapter 134-10.5 to be given as a written copy, I find that to be problematic because where it's 2025, we have an electronic copy. That's where I'll find the actual copy of that law, and it would be more sustainable, no added cost to the buyer or transfer of a firearm. In addition, in closing, the strict liability problem is a concern I have. The criminal actor should be responsible for their criminal act, not the owner of a firearm when they're, again, victimized by a thief stealing their property. And I'll close with that. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Noella Von Wangant, in opposition on Zoom, or Weingant.
Not present on Zoom, Chair.
Okay. We also have Christopher Thomas for Giffords Gun Owners for Safety and Support, Deborah Nyman, Chapter Lead, testifying for Brady, Hawai'i in support, Lisa Dow for Keiki Injury Prevention Coalition in support, Judith Mills Huang for League of Women Voters in support, Holly Kessler for the Hawai'i Public Health Association in support, Augustin Cabrera testifying for Giffords in support, Jessica Diaz in opposition for Free Citizens of Wanalua, Andrew Crossland testifying for Hawaii Patriots, Republicans in opposition, Abra Green testifying for the Libertarian Party of Hawaii in opposition. Then we received 24 individuals in support, 103 in opposition. That completes our list of registered testifiers for House Bill 125. Anyone else that wishes to testify on House Bill 125? Okay, if not, members, questions? Okay, we'll move on. House Bill 137, House Draft 1, relating to firearms, provides that violent felons that are in violation of the prohibition against owning, possessing, or controlling a firearm or ammunition are subject to a mandatory prison term. First up on our list is Director Mike Lambert, Deputy Director Radula.
Good afternoon, sir. Our department is in support of the proposal.
Okay, thank you. Office of Public Defender, Bill Bento.
And good afternoon once again, Chair, Vice Chair, and members of the committee. William Bento on behalf of the Office of the Public Defender. We do oppose this measure. We appreciate the amendments that were made previously to create HD1. However, we always have opposition to mandatory sentences because there are situations where it's totally inappropriate. And I've outlined some of that in the written testimony. This body has to approve every single circuit court judge that gets named to the bench. And in doing so, the most important thing is, at least from our perspective, is that this body is saying that that person has good judgment, and therefore that person should be charged with the duty of meting out sentencing that's appropriate. Current judges can already give 10 years in jail when it's necessary. And I think the focus should be on people who have committed another offense with the use of a firearm.
Thank you, Mr. Bento. We do have your written testimony.
Okay.
Thank you. Daniel Hugo from the Honolulu Prosecuting Attorney's Office.
Good afternoon, Chair, Vice Chair, and Senator Rhodes. Daniel Hugo for the Honolulu Prosecutor's Office, and we support this bill. I will note first on the Second Amendment issue, our office does not see any Second Amendment issue here. The Second Amendment by the U.S. Supreme Court is interpreted by its original public meaning. At the time that the Second Amendment was drafted, felons did not have a right to possess firearms because in colonial America, felons were hanged. Second, the Office of the Public Defender gave a story to you about a possible case. That is not what we are looking at. We are looking at facts where felons have access to guns. I point you to New Year's Day 2024, where Sidney Tofoki Tau, who had been charged by our office precisely for violating this statute, opened fired on his girlfriend, carjacked the car, and got into a gunfight with police officers who were wounded. This committee cannot stop all of those crimes from happening, but it can at least ensure that when someone breaks the law by acquiring a weapon, a violent felon, they go to prison. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hugo. Keldon Walgen, Prosecuting Attorney for the County of Hawai'i, on Zoom.
Hello, Chair, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you and we can see you.
Hello, Chair, Vice Chair, committee members, Hawaii County Prosecuting Attorney Keldon Walgen. We stand in strong support of this bill, as well as the comments made by Mr. Hugo in the Honolulu Prosecutor's Office. There are a lot of misconceptions regarding this bill, and I'm hoping that my testimony today helps clarify some things. The purpose of this bill is not designed to disarm law-abiding citizens. Instead, this is the only bill introduced this session aimed at addressing gun violence by holding serious repeat offenders accountable. Felons forfeit their right to keep and bear arms when they choose to commit crimes. As we all know, a disproportionate number of crimes are committed by a small percentage of the population. Oftentimes, these individuals are the same people with prior felony convictions. As many are aware, Hawaii Island just had a 3-day-long island-wide manhunt for a felon who was wanted in connection to multiple firearms-related incidents, including the attempted murder of a police officer. We need legislation that supports law enforcement and prosecutors' efforts. HB 137 is that type of legislation. We submitted our written input and we're available to answer any questions. Mahalo.
Thank you. Noella Von Wingon in opposition on Zoom.
Not present on Zoom, Chair.
Okay. Robert Bobby Cavaco for Shopel in support. And we had 4 individuals in support, 27 in opposition. Anyone else on House Bill 137? If not, members' questions. Move on to our next item. House Bill 392, House Draft 1. This is relating to firearms, prohibits the possession, transfer, and sale of ghost guns, establishes mandatory minimum sentencing for use of a ghost gun in the commission of a felon. First up on our list from the Department of Law Enforcement, Deputy Director Radula.
Good afternoon again, Chair. Our department is in support of the proposal.
Okay, thank you. Office of the Public Defender, Mr. Bento.
And good afternoon once again. We stand in opposition to some parts of this bill. We concur with identifying ghost guns as firearms is also, and also prohibiting them. However, the area in which we have a problem is repeating in this bill what is already law. 706.660.1 already addresses the sentencing of people who utilize a firearm in the commission of a felony offense. So there's really no need for this language. It's already in the law, and judges already sentence people with mandatory sentences that use a firearm in the commission of a felony. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bento. Daniel Hugo, in support.
Good afternoon, Chair, Vice Chair, members of the, or Senator Rhodes. Our office supports this bill, and I'm just going to address the issue about whether or not the statutory provisions are redundant. We do not see them as redundant because there's a principle of statutory construction that the specific will control the general. So by specifying ghost guns here, what we are preventing is any sort of judicial construction that the firearms enhancements do not apply to ghost guns because ghost guns have been specified and defined separately. It's a safe measure to ensure that there are uniform sentences for firearms as well as for ghost guns. We didn't increase the penalties. They're the same as for firearms, and so we think that this is a reasonable measure. Thank you.
Thank you. Michael Rice on Zoom in opposition.
Hola, again, Michael Rice, speaking out in opposition. This bill is redundant. It's already illegal to simply possess a ghost gun. The other islands seem to have no problem enforcing this law. It's just Oahu for some reason. They're able to prosecute and arrest individuals caught with ghost guns. And I was made aware of a provision in this bill that may technically make all firearms into ghost guns because there is no centralized database or registration system for serial numbers. That's done at the manufacturer level and is voluntary. There is no federal system to set that up. There is no local system to set that up. It's like you're setting up something to, if it doesn't comply with this, then it's a ghost gun, and this doesn't exist at all. I don't believe I have that in my written testimony, and that is about all I wish to speak on. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Rice. Ryan C. Tinohiro.
Aloha again, Senators. I just want to continue standing on my written testimony in opposition to HB 392 and its current revision. As specified, I don't want to belabor too much, but just need to remind everyone, HRS Chapter 134, 10.2 highlights the definition of a ghost gun everyday in existence, and then it is supplemented by HRS Chapter 134-10, which emphasizes that alterations of firearm serialization or identifying marks are prohibited. The other concern I have in the bill is the definition inconsistency. The current definition of firearm in Chapter 134-1, it distinguishes firearm frame from receiver. However, HB 392 in its current revision incorporates the firearm frame as something that needs to be serialized, which isn't serialized on every firearm currently. And if that's the case, then again, as stated earlier, all guns would suddenly become ghost guns by definition, which means all firearm owners are in violation. Thank you.
Noella Von Wingon in opposition on Zoom.
Not present on Zoom, Chair.
Thank you. Judith Mills Wong for the League of Women Voters of Hawaii in support. Andrew Crossland for Hawaii Patriot Republicans in opposition. We received 5 individuals in support and 70 in opposition. That completes our list of registered testifiers. Anyone else on House Bill 392? If not, members, questions? Okay, we'll proceed to our next item. House Bill 995. This is relating to firearms reporting. Amends the annual reporting requirements imposed on the Department of the Attorney General and the Chief of Police of each county regarding licenses to carry firearms. Attorney General, Ms. Ibato.
Good afternoon, Senator Elefante and committee members. Thank you so much for hearing this bill. Our department stands in support of this legislation, which basically adjusts 2 deadlines that are statutorily set. Number 1, that our department will complete firearms license to carry report by April 1st of each calendar year. And then the second part would be for the police departments to submit their data to us by February 1st of each year. We do ask that the police department be given at least 2 more months to provide the best and complete set of information to us, and that you take off the April 1st deadline. We do plan and sincerely have structured that we will complete an annual report. It just gives our time, our office time, and the resources that we have to leverage to complete this report. And we want to pride ourselves on a good product for you folks and the community at large. Thank you.
Thank you.
If you have any questions.
Deputy Director Radula from DLE.
Sir, good afternoon. Our department is in support of the proposal.
Okay, thank you. Carlene Lau, Major Carlene Lau from HPD.
Hi, good afternoon, Chair, Vice Chair, members of the committee. I'm Major Carlene Lau of HPD, and we stand in support of this bill. I'm available to answer any questions if you have.
Okay, thank you. Noella Van Wingon in opposition on Zoom.
Not present on Zoom, Chair.
Okay, thank you. Andrew Crossland for Hawaii Patriot Republicans in opposition. Marcella Alohilani in support, or Alohilani Boydoi in support. And then we received 34 people in opposition. That completes our list of registered testifiers. Anyone else on House Bill 995? If not, members, questions? Okay, move on to our last item, which is House Bill 664, House Draft 1. This is relating to gun violence prevention, establishes the Office of Gun Violence Prevention to conduct community outreach on gun violence prevention, develop and administer a grant program for gun violence prevention, and develop and administer a gun violence resource bank, establishes the Gun Violence Prevention Special Fund and appropriates funds into and out of the special fund and appropriates funds. First up is Melina Sanchez, Deputy Attorney General.
Good afternoon, Chair Elefante and members of the committee. My name is Melina Sanchez, Deputy Attorney General. We've provided written testimony with comments with respect to HB 664. As stated in our testimony, there appears to be overlapping responsibilities with the proposed new office and the existing Gun Violence and Violent Crimes Commission codified in HRS 134C. Under 134C-2, commission membership is comprised of various law enforcement agencies, including the judiciary. And they are tasked with addressing gun violence issues and data collecting in Hawaii, which appears similar to what the new office, HB 664, proposes. In order to avoid confusion and duplication of the efforts of the new office and the commission members under 134C, our recommendation is that the committee consider amending the bill first to incorporate and consolidate the responsibilities of the existing GVVCC's responsibilities into the new office and thereafter repeal 134C. We believe by doing so.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We do have your written testimony.
Okay, thank you.
Director Mike Lambert, Deputy Director Radula.
Good afternoon, sir. Our department is in support of this.
Okay, thank you. Tom Yamachika, Tax Foundation, offering comments on Zoom.
Thank you, Chair, Vice Chair, members of the committee. Tom Yamachika from Tax Foundation. Our primary concern is with the special fund. We don't think there's a need for it, and it violates the statutory criteria for one. We have to answer any questions. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you. Ramya Swamy for Brady Campaign to Prevent Gun Violence on Zoom in support.
Thank you, everyone. Once again, my name is Ramya Swamy. I'm Policy Counsel for Brady, and I'm here to testify in support of House Bill 664. Passing this bill would serve as a vital first step towards expanding access to funding for the state to address various forms of gun violence, including suicides, mass shootings, insurgents, and other forms of gun violence. And the office's focus on data collection will empower the future state legislatures to continue to lead in this space by introducing and implementing violence reduction policies that are backed by data. House Bill 664 would enable the Office of Gun Violence Prevention to also conduct public public awareness campaigns on important subjects, including but not limited to safe and responsible firearm ownership, lost and stolen reporting requirements, and the secure storage of firearms. This office would be a vital resource for coordinating efforts between federal, state, and local agencies, facilitating data collection and research, and developing best practices for community violence intervention programs, especially in consideration of the current administration's deprioritization of such offices. We
Thank you so
strongly urge
much.
this committee to support. Thank you.
Sarah Sumadi, Everytown for Gun Safety and Support on Zoom.
Currently unavailable on Zoom, Chair.
Chris Marvin.
Aloha, Chair, Vice Chair, members of the committee. Chris Marvin for the Vet Voice Foundation. As I mentioned before, I'm a combat wounded veteran of the war in Afghanistan, strongly in favor of HB 664. An Office of Gun Violence Prevention will help us to address the rise in gun violence we've seen since the Bruin decision. In the past 2 years, gun permit applications in the state have increased 280%, and those guns are being sold to folks. More guns always means more gun violence, and we've seen that happen as well. It's true here that in that same period, we've seen a 70% increase in gun deaths. In the last 2 weeks, we've seen a shooting at Ala Moana Beach Park, a drive-by shooting in Kapolei, not one but two manhunts in East Hawaii, mentioned previously, and both resulted in the death of armed suspects, one of which involved a police officer being shot. And even after I wrote this testimony, I found out Sunday night there's a shooting in Waikiki on Kalakaua Avenue. The guns are out there. We can't put the toothpaste back in the tube. We now live in a more violent state, and gun violence will continue to increase. This bill will at least support and assist the governor, legislators, and law enforcement as we figure out what to do about it. Mahalo.
Thank you. We'll go to Erica Yamauchi, and then we'll go back to Sarah Sumado.
Thank you, Chair, Vice Chair, members of the committee. I'm Erica Yamauchi, the statewide volunteer co-lead for Moms Demand Action, representing local groups on 3 islands and 2,000 supporters statewide. We stand in strong support of this bill. And on our written testimony, as Chris mentioned, our gun death rate, according to the CDC, has increased more than 70% from 2013 to 2022. And firearms were the second leading cause of death among children and teens in Hawaii, ages 1 through 17 from 2018 to 2022. Gun violence costs our state more than $732 million annually. And it's time that we look to gun violence prevention as more of a public health issue, as well as from the community perspective. Mahalo.
Thank you. We'll go back to Ms. Sumado on Zoom.
Chair Elefante and members of the committee, thanks for having me here today. My name is Sarah Sumadi, and I'm Director of Government Affairs for Everytown for Gun Safety. And I'm here in support of HB 664, which would create a state office of gun violence prevention in Hawaii. After the uptick of gun violence in the state over the past few years, it's critical to approach the crisis from every angle. A state office of gun violence prevention can serve as a centralized hub that ensures that state gun laws are reaching their maximum potential. It would support the state's gun violence prevention goals at multiple stages, from collecting and tracking data to inform policy, to increasing public awareness of things like safe storage and extreme risk protection orders, to administering funding to life-saving community violence intervention programs that actually work to prevent shootings. States with such offices, such as California, Washington, Massachusetts, New York, and Illinois, are in the best position to create and implement policy solutions that will improve public safety for generations to come. Thank you for your time, and please support HB 664.
Thank you. Deborah Ann Harada.
Thank you so much, committee. My name is Deborah Harada, and I'm here to voice support for HB 664, creating an Office of Gun Violence Prevention. I'm a writer, and my days revolve around harnessing the power of story and communication. I'm also a mother to 2 daughters. I've worked in the nonprofit field for a long time, studied systems thinking and community. And unfortunately, I've seen firsthand the impact gun violence has had on people I care about. The intersection of all of these things is what brings me here today. A few years ago, a longtime friend of our family shot and killed his wife and then himself. His name was Dave. He struggled with mental health issues for decades. He kept a large store of weapons in his home, and he was physically and emotionally abusive to his wife and his sons. Like so many other families, we've been left asking if this tragedy could have been avoided. Too often, we throw up our hands and the conversation ends with the words, "We'll never know." But Dave's story doesn't have to end at the cemetery or in a newspaper headline.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
I'm sorry, your
Its
time's
written
up.
testimony is there. Thank you.
Thank you. Jerry Yuen on Zoom in opposition.
Hello, I'm Jerry Ewan from Pulo Rifle and Pistol Club. I oppose this bill. I would rather see a comprehensive violence prevention program rather than just focusing on an object like a gun. Where there's knives, there's clubs, there's cars out there that people run down others. Violence is not just by guns. Violence, you have to go to the actual root, whether it be cultural or economic or social. Please look at the root causes, not just the object. Thank you. That ends my testimony.
Thank you, Mr. Yuen. Andrew Crossland for Hawaii Patriot Republicans in opposition. Samira Fatimi. I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name.
Hello again, Senators. Once again, I'm Samira Fatemi. I'm here testifying in support of 664, HB 664. I stand before you on my behalf, as well as in the memory of my brother-in-law, Kono Dalton. On July 19th, 2023, Kono was shot and killed in a senseless act of gun violence. I know firsthand the shock and the devastation that comes with losing a loved one in such a shocking and violent manner. I have suffered and grieved his loss, and I have watched my family suffer and grieve his loss. No Ohana in this state should have to endure what we have. Establishing the Office of Gun Violence Prevention empowers our communities to interrupt these cycles of violence and allow healing to take its place. I urge you to vote in favor of this bill. Thank you.
Thank you. Jay Franzoni.
Again, I'm Jay Franzone. I study violence at Johns Hopkins, as well as how to prevent it, right? And I just want to take a moment and honor the survivors that are in the room and on Zoom testifying today, because at the end of the day, we're seeing this uptick in gun violence, right? So thank you to the survivors who are testifying for speaking out on this issue. Hawaii has some of the strongest gun laws in this country that this body has passed, but laws alone aren't enough. We need the infrastructure to support violence prevention and comprehensive violence prevention at that. HB 664 is a driven solution that enables our state to be a leader in public safety and to actually put these policies into action. I urge the committee to pass this bill. Mahalo.
Thank you, Mr. Franzone. Michael Rice.
Aloha, Michael Rice again, speaking out in opposition against this bill. While I can agree with the stated intent of the bill, quite often we see offices like these dominated by anti-gun groups. I mentioned in my written testimony about the Oakland ceasefire and how that program was ended early under pressure from Giffords Law Center. When it reduced gun violence in the state in Oakland by 50% and up to 9 other cities from anywhere from 30 to 60% where it was tested. If I told you I could reduce gun violence by 50% without passing any new laws, just by having community outreach and targeted enforcement against gang members, you'd want to hear it, right? Well, as I said, Giffords Law Center put as much pressure as they could on local officials to end the program early because it was counteracting their main message of we need to ban these guns. Thank you very much. Everything else is my written testimony.
Thank you. Noella Van Wingon in opposition on Zoom.
Not present on Zoom, Chair.
We also have Director Luis Salavera for Budget and Finance offering comments. Stephen Alred, Church State Council offering comments. Deborah Nimad, Brady Hawaii in support. Judith Mills Wong, League of Women's Voters in support. Lisa Dow, Injury Prevention Coordinator for Keiki Injury Prevention Coalition in support. Terry Ann Mohidin in support. And David Popham for the Hawaii Conference United Church of Christ in support. We also received 31 individuals in support and 46 in opposition. That completes our list of registered testifiers. Anyone else on House Bill 664? If not, members, questions? Yeah. Senator, the court request for DLE.
Thank you. Hi, Jared. Thank you for being here. Do you know how much the department is asking for in this crime prevention effort?
Senator,
Gun violence prevention effort. I apologize.
Senator, I apologize. I don't have that number with me.
Okay.
I can get that number to your office, ma'am.
Okay, one more question. Although the Office of Gun Violence Prevention will be created within the Department of Law Enforcement, so it's going to be under the purview of DLE, but it looks like also within the bill, it says that the governor will appoint a director to oversee the office. So are we talking about a director over a director or under a director?
Ma'am, I think what the proposal calls for is an attached agency. So what that is for administrative purposes, they would be attached to the department and perhaps borrow some of its infrastructure to operate. But it would have its own agency type head, a leader of the office.
Okay.
We will manage the office together, I think, in the sense that we want to get this mission accomplished.
Got it. And then my final question, Chair, thank you. I know that DLE is about 200 officers short. Do you folks have the manpower for this?
So although law enforcement is a critical part of this, the resource commitment with law enforcement officers into this is typically not a large one. So we think that the DLE can support this for sure.
Okay, thank you, Deputy Director. Chair, thank you very much.
Thank you. Stay right there.
Yes, sir.
I do have a few questions. So I believe to answer Senator Decort's question, in the House Committee report on Judiciary and Hawaiian Affairs, the request was for $1,044,926. Does that sound accurate?
Senator, I'll have to go back and check. I wasn't studied on that number, but I will contact your office to make sure that
Okay,
the numbers.
that would be great, so that we can include that dollar amount in the committee report if the intent is to pass it out here
Yes,
today.
sir.
The other question I do have, you heard the AG's comments and the written testimony. Would the Department of Law Enforcement be in opposition to move the commission that's currently under the AG's under DLE?
Sure, I'll take that back to the director. I don't see an issue with this. Again, we believe in the mission and what the intent of this is, and that is to help prevent gun violence. And to that end, our department is very supportive of this.
Okay, thank you. Members, any other questions? Yes, Vice Chair Okai.
For the AGs. I'm a proponent of reducing gun violence, but I'm an opponent of making government larger than it needs to be. And so you mentioned this Gun Violence Crimes Commission, and that many of its current powers are duplicative of what is asked for in this bill.
Correct.
So what's the better approach? Should we empower what's already existing, this GVVCC, or should we go the route of establishing this new Office of Violence Prevention?
I'm not in a position to make that call, Senator. What we're proposing is that with this new office, we're not saying that the members would be moved over. What we're recommending is the responsibilities, because housing it in one particular office appears to make more sense because you have one centralized location versus having two separate entities basically doing the same thing. And granted, one is funded, one's not. Again, that's not my position to make any recommendations one way or the other than saying that the current office that's recommended under this bill appears to be similar, and it makes more sense to incorporate it and then repeal. So that way the membership, which is encompasses the judiciary, the public defenders, the law enforcement, there's many different moving parts in creating a meeting and so forth, that if you have one centralized body that's doing it, it just makes more sense.
Yeah, so I think we're in agreement on that. We don't need two entities out there existing. I'm just curious as to which is the better entity, because with this GVVCC that currently exists, I would imagine the cost to the public is minimal, correct?
I believe 134C outlines that. 134C2 says it's without compensation, but they may be reimbursed for their actual and necessary expenses.
Okay, so we have something that's almost zero cost to the state. It's pretty much volunteer driven, right?
Correct.
And then now we're gonna spend $1 million to do what is already being asked of this this commission, correct?
I believe that's the testimony that I heard, Senator. But again, my role here is to just educate the senators as to the various laws that are in place and to make recommendations as we see, and which is to incorporate the responsibilities of the current commission members into, not each person going in there, it's just the responsibilities.
But one thing though, that if we establish an office, the office can do, the public relations, the messaging campaigns that we're seen as necessary, versus the commission doesn't have access to resources and doesn't have the power to go and do that type of community messaging, correct?
I believe so.
Okay, I understand. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Members, any other questions? Senator Rhodes?
Ask, maybe Deputy. So, I mean, I guess it looks to me like the two entities aren't really, I mean, it's the same mission in a sense, but the one that actually has funding will have an executive director and will be more of a full-time. Is that a fair representation? Same mission, but just more resources?
That's a fair representation, Senator. What this will do is create a full-time, full-court press on gun violence in our community and looking for solutions and collecting data and taking that public health type approach to trying to solve this problem of gun violence.
Okay, all right, it sounds correct to me, thank you.
Any other questions, members? Okay, if not, I'm ready to roll into decision-making. Okay, first up on our agenda is House Bill 125, House Draft 1. This is relating to firearms. Recommendation here is to pass as is. Any further discussion? Okay, if not, Vice Chair for the vote. Chair votes aye.
I vote yes. Senator Fukunaga? Excuse. Senator Rhodes?
Aye.
Senator Decourt?
No.
Chair, your recommendation is adopted.
Thank you so much. Next item on our agenda is House Bill 137, House Draft 1. This is relating to firearms. Recommendation is to pass as is. Any further discussion? If not, Vice Chair Wakai for the vote. Chair votes aye.
I vote yes. Senator Fukunaga is excused. Senator Rhodes?
Aye.
Senator Decourt?
Aye.
Chair, your recommendation is adopted.
Thank you. Next up on our agenda is House Bill 392, House Draft 1, relating to firearms. Recommendation is to pass as is. Any further discussion? If not, Vice Chair for the vote. Chair votes aye.
I vote yes. Senator Fukunaga is excused. Senator Rhodes?
Aye.
Senator Decourt?
Aye.
Chair, your recommendation is adopted.
Our next item is House Bill 995, relating to firearms reporting. Recommendation is to pass as is. Any further discussion? If not, Vice Chair Wakai for the vote. Chair votes aye.
I vote yes. Senator Fukunaga is excused. Senator Rhodes?
Aye.
Senator Decourt?
No.
Chair, your recommendation is adopted.
Thank you. And our last item is House Bill 664, House Draft 1, relating to gun violence prevention. Our recommendation here is to pass with amendments. We're going to accept the AG's proposed amendments in their testimony, basically moving the Gun Violence and Violent Crimes Commission from the Attorney General's Office to the Department of Law Enforcement. Technical amendments, and we're going to change the effective date to July 1st, 2077. So that way it's not a duplicative type of issue that we have, and hopefully that can address some of the concerns. With that, any further discussion? If not, Vice Chair for the vote. Chair votes aye.
I vote yes. Senator Fukunaga is excused. Senator Rhodes?
Aye.
Senator Decourt?
No.
Chair, your recommendation is adopted.
That concludes our agenda today. We are adjourned.